Welcome back everyone, Derch here, and I want to test a skill today, particularly a skill that I keep hearing different things about that I've been using in my build called Infusion. People are saying this is bug, people are saying this is bad, and there is complexity to this, but I'm actually not seeing the bugs. So let's play with this. So what I'm going to do is I have a bandit technical in front of me. I have a corrosive gun and a non-elemental gun. So before we spec into any skills, let's just shoot this car. So 980 with a corrosive gun. I'll wait for the dot to stop. 930 with the non-elemental gun. So 980, 930. We've got those numbers. Cool. Let's spec into some skills. So people said if you add the same element to the gun, it will do 40%. It'll actually do less damage. So there's no way to disable guardian ranks. These are my guardian ranks. These are affecting the numbers. But that is fine. So I'm going to also show you, I only have these two guns on. I have a shield and a grenade. No class mod or relic affecting anything. So these... nothing's stacking, nothing's boosting these. These are just these numbers with guardian rank. So you see this gets a debuff for shooting armor. This gets a buff for shooting corrosive. Alright, so I'm going to put 5 points into my max health to not affect damage. I am going to equip a corrosive element. And then I am going to spec 5 points into here. Now, from what people have been saying, this should mean the corrosive gun will do less damage. 980, same amount of damage. Now, if I use my elemental gun, did you see that? Let's 558 and 814, where the elemental damage is less, but the matching element has gone way up. Which is why this is cool, is you are getting bonus damage. Now, if you're not matching that element, will it go down from 930? Let's just take that to shock. So a little bit less non-matching. But if we keep going down the tree, which is what you would do, and get this to boost damage, now let's see. That's more than 930. So for non-elemental guns, even when you're not matching elements, Infusion can be pretty awesome because it can boost your damage. Now, in this build, it's even cooler. And some people have been asking me why I'm using it. Because as I get overkill damage, my base damage goes up. And a lot of people tell me to use shock, but it's actually been better to use fire because my base damage gets so high that it just eats through the shield. And then the fire hits the flesh, and then you get that bonus, and you just do way more damage, and the damage escalates better. I know on paper it sounds better to do it shock because all these enemies have shields, but playing this build, going fire against enemies with shield and flesh has been more effective than going shock, even though this boosts shock damage more than fire damage. So when I do it fire, from 930 to, what are we, 860? So it is a little bit less, but once you start stacking that damage up and you get that overkill damage going and the rest of the boosts, the fire ends up doing more. Even though shooting this car would tell you not to. And that's why it's an important thing in Borderlands. If something works really well on a test dummy or on paper, does not mean it's actually better in game. You actually have to get into combat and try some things, because sometimes there are some things you are not equating for. As much as I love Borderlands science, and you guys know I do, things can change. Now, if I'm putting fire on a corrosive gun, this was doing 980. That's doing a hell of a lot less. 764 and 146. So, on elemental guns, infusion doesn't actually add that much. Because if you're just going to swap your guns and match elements, you're better off without it. That is true. But if you're using some things like maybe cryo and you want to add elements to it, you can make that better, or explosive or radiation. But if you're going to typically have fire, shock, corrosive in your loadout and swap to match the elements of the enemies, which is a very smart way to play in an elemental build, you can be much better off without infusion. That is actually true. But on non-elemental guns, it is really awesome. It just cranks everything up, and it is a sweet skill. And that just makes a lot of really interesting synergies with Amara being able to go into an elemental tree with non-elemental guns like I have been doing with my Sheriff build. So I hope you guys got a little bit out of that and how infusion is working. So basically, it works as it says. Pretty simple. So 40% of my damage will be converted to whichever action skill element I have picked. And then that elemental damage will get buffed by elemental skills. It can cause dots. It can do whatever. So that. People are saying it doesn't work with sustainment, and it seems like sustainment's only kind of getting things with ties up on some weird thing. So I actually haven't been speccing into that. And I'm going to have an updated build. In fact, my updated build might already be out. I'm not sure the order of these videos coming out. But yeah, that's it for this episode of Derch Nye, the Borderlands guy. I guess that's coming back. Some of you guys might want me to do a lot more testing on these cars. I really don't want to because I fucking hate this. I'm not going to lie. Not having a proper target dummy drives me nuts. I want a proper target dummy. I want it now. Because these things, there's no crits. There's so many problems with this. It drives me insane. And then if I want to respec, I gotta fast travel back to respec. Ugh, the whole situation is not good. But I will be doing this for some things that I just hear and I want to clarify and just put out there. And if you guys have requests, let me know, but just don't abuse it because, man, this annoys me so much. I need to make a target dummy video. I really do. So tell me to do that. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you all later in another video, and I